What's going on, guys? My name is Triforce Addiction. Welcome back to another Call of Duty video for the channel. So today I want to discuss something that I'm surprised a lot of people have not really discussed given the situation that Call of Duty in general is in right now. Don't worry, this will have a lot to do with COD Mobile later on in this video, but this is something that I kind of thought of overnight. Well, not really. This is a lingering thought that I've had for many years now. And I'm just wondering what you guys actually think about this type of idea. So for the past few years, pretty much ever since the start of Modern Warfare 2019, Call of Duty has kind of like gone on a downward spiral for the most part. Yeah, Warzone did bring up popularity with the game a little bit more. It did help people. I guess it made Call of Duty a little bit bearable with Cold War, Vanguard, and everything that followed after. But right now, we're kind of at a point where I think Call of Duty is at its all-time low. So yes, I've been wanting to talk about this for a long time. It's a lingering thought that has kind of plagued my mind for a while. But I mean, it would sound like a pretty good idea in concept. But of course, I mean, life is a lot more complicated than that. So just in case you guys haven't been paying attention, I know some of you guys just mainly play COD Mobile and don't really pay attention to the mainline CODs, but as of right now, Black Ops 6 and I guess Warzone for Black Ops 6 has kind of been in the shitter right now, especially with the amount of cheaters that you would find in their ranked modes. And the fact that I just heard recently, I think like a day ago, that hackers now have the ability to, I guess, report you 100 times over with just a click of a button and get your account banned basically forever. The anti-cheat in those games have not really been that great. I know for a while, I think during Cold War, that's where hacking was at its worst, and people were getting tired of it, so they eventually released the Ricochet anti-cheat, but they did have to wait a while. And when the day finally came where Ricochet actually came out, it pretty much did nothing. I mean, if anything, like, yeah, it would detect a few cheaters in game and they would do some weird stuff as like, making the legitimate players invisible or reducing their damage or have them do no damage at all. So just stuff that would kind of just troll the hacker or just outright ban them or something like that. But I think we've reached a point where Ricochet is basically just useless overall. And it doesn't really do anything to stop the hackers from, continuing to do what they're doing, because they could just easily just make another account, unlock everything once more, and just basically continue hacking and just ruining everyone's game. And Activision at the moment, given the holidays that we're on right now, they're not really working on anything, and they basically said that they're going to update the anti-cheat around, I think, January or whenever their Season 2 or Season 3 comes out. So players are just left here to suffer in the game until something is actually done. So why am I talking about this on a COD Mobile / Warzone Mobile type of channel? So I'm getting to that. But it kind of goes to show that a lot of players are starting to lose faith in Activision a lot more so than before. Yes, they had their complaints before. Yes, there'd be glitches that would kind of be game breaking, or, there's stuff that like a lot of people were dissatisfied with on the Activision side. But it's even more so now that like Black Ops 6 and just Warzone is just a lot more unplayable now because of all these hackers and just, I guess, how the game performs overall. There's just random crashes as well. It's not just the hacking situation. There's just other issues that are plaguing the game as well. Things as skill-based hit registration or skill-based damage, whatever they call it. I'm still kind of on the fence. I'm not sure if it actually has something to do with the servers, but, there'll be people with perfect ping and somehow they're doing no damage to the enemy. So I'm kind of like 50-50 on that thing. But yes, there's situations like that where it's kind of turning people away from the game, knowing full well that, I guess it makes it feel like the game is rigged to them. Where, like, even if they're like, they could be the best, or like even if they're at their most focused, they still feel like they're not getting anything done with the game, if that makes any sense. I mean, those topics have been prevalent since I think Modern Warfare 2, 2022, but yeah, it's become even more so of a topic now because it's a lot more noticeable, something I have noticed. And I mean, I got my gaming PC. I played Black Ops 6 for one game, and I think I already spotted a hacker. I didn't really record the footage, but he kind of just like locked on to me where I was just playing a Nuketown match. I was just testing how the game functions. I mean, I just got this computer like a few days ago, so I kind of want to see like I guess to test the limits of the PC, how far it can go, because I have a 4060 NVIDIA graphics card. So, you know, I'm not really much of a computer guy. I just wanted to see how well it performs. And it does pretty well for the most part. Um, but yeah, I mean, the first game that I got on, I think I spotted a hacker. I mean, we lost pretty badly. I mean, this guy, like, he was not missing his shots or anything. Of course, you could say he's a good player. Maybe he was on keyboard and mouse because you can have a little bit faster reflexes. But this was beyond the speed of, I guess, human reflexes. Even if you kind of did like a panic reflex thing, you know, like let's say, like if you ever seen one of those videos where I think there was like this one where this guy kind of scares this dude by popping out of a trash can, he just punches him immediately, like that kind of reflex, like even that type of speed. Yeah, it wasn't, it didn't really make any sense. It didn't feel very human when that happened. But that's also another thing too. You know, with this hacking situation, whenever someone gets killed, you know, they can't really tell for sure whether or not the person that killed them is either cheating or just really good. I mean, for me, it's pretty easy to tell. I mean, you know, if they're missing shots and, you know, they're not, it doesn't look like they're looking at you through walls and they're just minding their own business. Obviously, yeah, it's still pretty easy to tell, but, you know, people have gone kind of jaded to the point where they think everyone's a hacker that beats them. So it's like, it's just, it's causing this entire issue within the mainline CODs. So it's kind of got me wondering, is Call of Duty, at least the mainline CODs, really sustainable now? Because it doesn't look to me that the anti-cheat's going to get better, even if they update the whatever drivers that they need to update or whatever the fuck. I mean, I'm still new to this computer situation. But, you know, it's got a lot of people wondering if things are really ever going to get better. And I always think about COD Mobile because, you know, like this game doesn't have any issues like that. Yes, we do have like a very tiny amount of hackers, like the I guess the tiny little minority, but it's not enough to the point where, you know, every time you get killed, you think someone's cheating. Like if you died, it was on you. And look, Call of Duty Mobile has not been void of these issues at all. I mean, at the very beginning of the game, there's people like iFerg trying to reach the leaderboards, and he couldn't back in 2019, 2020, because there were just hackers on the very top that were keeping him from doing that. But then, of course, the situation got resolved, and basically anytime the game detects anything on your phone that may not be authorized, they're going to ban you. I mean, they got rid of BlueStacks, I guess, for like BlueStacks used to be something that a lot of PC players would play, I guess, COD Mobile through that type of thing instead of game loop. And maybe I'm still really not sure why they got rid of it. I think it was probably because there was a hacking situation. I don't remember. This was like 4 years ago. But yeah, you know, they're pretty good with their anti-cheat methods. And not only that, the game has already been around long enough to not really have any major game-breaking bugs. I mean, there will be a few occasional ones that may crash your game, but it's never to the point where it happens so often. In fact, I was playing COD Mobile, and for the first time on my iPad, the game crashed. After, like, I don't think that situation has happened at all. Well, maybe like a year or two ago, but like that's how rare these situations are. And not only that, I mean, people that have been playing this game for 5 years still remain loyal to the game because there's constant updates. You know, ranked mode. I mean, you know, ranked mode is probably one of the more problematic parts of COD Mobile, only because they don't have like any like restrictions to meta. You could basically use whatever you want and just get away with it. But other than that, I mean, COD Mobile has been sustainable because it's always been a very stable thing. And if there's ever hackers, they'll get banned right away. Also, the player base has grown significantly. Also, I mean, with the inputs, you know, if it's keyboard and mouse, touch, or controller, I mean, all of those 3 different inputs have skyrocketed in popularity. I mean, back in the day when I first started playing controller on this game in 2020, I barely found any controller players. They were it was like trying to find a unicorn. But now, I mean, they're just all over the place. Every game, I always have like I'm going against a group of controller players, which is cool. The player base is continuing to grow even after 5 years. And on top of that, we have a dev team that's at least willing to improve in their ways. You know, we have Infinity Ward where they're still making mistakes from 2019. You know, not having red dots on the mini map, making guns extremely slow, adding to the camping situation. But Sledgehammer and Treyarch, I mean, they do kind of improve on certain things. I mean, you know, like they do learn from their mistakes. But I would say the COD Mobile devs probably did it the best, and I'll tell you why. So over these 5 years, I mean, we'd had issues where, you know, the meta would always stick to one gun, but now we have like the most diverse meta in Call of Duty history. I mean, you could use either a BP-50, you could use an AK-117, you could use pretty much anything in ranked and still succeed pretty well. I think the lowest point of COD Mobile was when I guess the devs were not really fixing persistence. I mean, persistence used to be a red perk, and you were able to put that with hardline. And a lot of players that were not really that skilled were getting wins that they obviously did not deserve. And I think that happened for about maybe a year or so until they finally, you know, changed persistence into a blue perk so you just couldn't put that stuff together. And they also restricted the score streaks that you're able to put. So for example, well, I mean, I don't think I really have to explain this to you guys, but yeah, you can't use an attack chopper with a VTOL, you know, all that stuff at once. Like they're separated by tiers.
Nice.
The devs also went out of their way to make weapons up to speed, you know, making them a lot more potent, you know, adding multipliers to certain guns that now reward you for being more accurate, such as the Man of War or the M4. If you guys remember, the M4 actually had less damage to the head than on the body. So you were actually punished for shooting in the head. But you know, look what happened with the Man of War. It's always been a 3-shot kill to the head until recently, where they made it a 2-shot kill to the head, rewarding players for actually being more accurate. And they've been doing that with a lot of guns recently. The opinions of the time to kill in this game are subjective. I mean, some people like a longer time to kill, some people like a shorter time to kill. You know, it really depends on the person. But yeah, I mean, they made all the weapons a lot more potent, and they continue to do so even to this day. After all this time, COD Mobile is still, in my personal opinion, the best Call of Duty game at the moment. Warzone Mobile obviously is a different story. I mean, they have yet to actually optimize the game properly for all the devices that support it, so I'm not really going to discuss that one. That thing's kind of like in the shitter. I think it'll remain that way forever. But COD Mobile, like, it made me start to question, you know, given the state of how, you know, the mainline Call of Duty games are, it's always had me wonder why COD Mobile has not become the universal Call of Duty game. And what I mean by that is, in my personal opinion, I think if Call of Duty, especially the mainline ones, are going to continue to be garbage, there should be, I guess, an option to, or I guess like a fallback option to be able to play Call of Duty Mobile, or I guess change the name of the game and just call it Call of Duty, and everyone could just play it on their console or, you know, their tablet or even on their PC. You know, kind of like how Minecraft is. I do want to explain that, but I am aware of the audience I do attract on this channel. I know there are people that are around my age. I'm 27 years old. There are people in the channel that are maybe in their teen years, or, you know, they're just about to graduate high school, or even younger than that. So I know some of you guys may have not remembered this because you might have been a little bit younger. But I mean, Minecraft, for example, is, well, I guess it's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. So the Minecraft that is present on, you know, console, PS5, Xbox Series, and as well as like the tablets and the Android, that came from a very specific version of Minecraft. And it was a version that a lot of people scoffed at because they really thought that specific version was not going to go anywhere. And that version was, of course, Pocket Edition. So again, not a lot of you guys are going to remember this. I mean, I first started playing that version of Minecraft, I think back when, like, maybe I think the iPhone 4S was out, maybe? I think it was probably a little bit after that. But yeah, I mean, Minecraft Pocket Edition was kind of at its roots. I mean, the worlds were very underdeveloped. I mean, they didn't have that many features. And at the time, the superior version, at least to most people, was just the console edition, whether they played it on the 360 and later on, of course, with the PS3. You know, people were playing Minecraft a lot during that era. And I remember this specifically. Like, I was playing the Pocket Edition with my cousin, and, you know, my brother they were always laughing at me because, like, I was playing it on, like, a phone. It's like, oh, that version sucks, you know, and look where it is now. the Pocket Edition became the foundation for the Bedrock Edition, which now expands to the tablets and the consoles and including the PC. And that was mainly because that version was becoming a lot more advanced than the console edition. We had infinite worlds, we had more biomes, we had better cave systems. I'm not even sure if the console editions had, I guess, like a FOV system. I think they probably added that later on. But at that point, right before Bedrock became fully, like, became a thing, I mean, the Pocket Edition was pretty much almost caught up with the PC version. And the console edition didn't really have anything going for it, you know? I mean, yeah, it got updates here and there, but it would take months at a time. I mean, same went for the Pocket Edition, but I think it was a lot more behind than it was on the mobile. So eventually the mobile version became the I mean, what was it? I don't know what the update was called. It was called something before Bedrock. I think it was called like the Better Together update where like they finally integrated that version of the game to all of the other platforms, thus making Minecraft universal. I won't lie to you. I think if Pocket Edition never existed, none of us would have Bedrock right now. And keep in mind, dude, the cross platforming, you could play with people on mobile, you could play with people on the Switch, you could play with people on, PlayStation or even on PC. I mean, that's how, like, it's a, the cross platforming is amazing in that game. This is something that I think COD Mobile should actually do. And given the amount of weapons that we have in Call of Duty Mobile right now, I mean, people that, let's say, for example, hypothetically, it came out, people would be playing the game for hours on end trying to grind out all the guns to like Diamond or to like Damascus and shit because there's just hundreds of weapons out there. Like if they start from scratch, like the player retention would be absolutely insane. And you could see how strong the appeal is with this game to other players, you know, such as people that have been playing, you know, the mainline CODs, you know, YouTubers such as Swag or Tim the Tatman, what else, Dismo. You know, they were playing the game, they enjoyed it. I think even also Merc Music, I think he occasionally plays COD Mobile, maybe just for a little bit of a video, but, you know, for the little time that they play it, they enjoy it. It's a breath of fresh air after all the shit that they go through in the main CODs. You know, they don't have to deal with hackers, they don't have to deal with skill-based matchmaking, you know, stuff like that. Of course, I mean, I know a lot of touch players or people that play mainly on mobile devices will probably have a problem with that. But of course, I mean, they could always have that rule if they want to, where they kind of like lock the inputs together, you know, keeping them separated. And I mean, it would help the controller and the keyboard and mouse space a lot. I mean, there would be more controller players, there would be more PC players, and, you know, it would probably catch up to how many touch players we have currently. In terms of competitive competitions, you could have different divisions. You could have the touch division. You could have controller division. You could also have the keyboard and mouse divisions. You know, you could like pro teams such as Tribe or New York City Subliners. They could expand their divisions a little bit more instead of just having only a touch pro base. They could now have a controller pro base or a PC pro base. And I do understand there are purists out there that just want this game to remain on mobile or just I guess, you know, on Game Loop, whatever the case may be. And I understand that, but I mean, if we were to have this as a universal game, I think everyone would be happy. If anything, I would go as far as to say, and this might sound really stupid, but I would go as far as to say that if they were ever to do that, make it universal, it would probably save Call of Duty as a franchise. We would never have to worry about skill-based unless we're playing ranked. We would never have to worry about skill-based damage. We would never have to worry about bad servers. We would never have to worry about any of that. There might be an influx of hackers, but I mean, the anti-cheat would take them down pretty fast. I would love to think that. But I mean, hey, I mean, I think this would be the best move going forward if, you know, Call of Duty on the mainline, well, I guess the mainline CODs, if they don't keep succeeding, I mean, this is really the only other way to have Call of Duty remain successful. You know, it's like, what more options do we have? And I know you guys will say, well, the microtransactions are an issue because they're very expensive. You know, the mythics and the legendaries are not exactly consumer friendly in terms of pricing. And yeah, you could say that, but at the very least, at least the game would still be fun. It doesn't change too much, you know? Like, I mean, I think Like I was like for me, like if I never bought a legendary skin in my life, and let's say I just bought the battle pass, I think I'd be happy anyways. You know, I don't think it would matter to me that much. So it's just really something to think about. But let me know what you guys think down below. I'm actually very curious on your thoughts on this. I'm surprised no one has even talked about this yet. I know there's been a native PC port that came out in China for COD Mobile, but I mean, it could be a matter of time before it comes out for, global. People from the UK or people from the US could play on the PC as well. I mean, I have a PC right now. I would actually love to try it out on this thing. And given that COD Mobile isn't really too demanding in terms of graphical power and capability, including frames as well, I mean, maybe Nintendo consoles could also be included with this whole universal thing. The Switch 2 could probably be one of those consoles that you could play on the go, stuff like that. But anyways, I have said all I needed to say on this matter. I hope you guys comment down below. I really want to hear again. But yeah, anyways, have a wonderful day, guys. And also, Merry Christmas.